live.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Miss Tanya. How are you? I'm sorry, Tanya.
It's
Hi,
Tony.
Tanya.
Hey,
How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing great myself. It's good to see you. Good to be able to talk to you. This is actually our first time really getting to have a conversation, so I'm really excited about it. Um, so um, Today, I just want to have some conversation, just kind of get to know you and let some people that don't know you get to know you. And we'll talk about some things, nothing crazy out of the ordinary. I don't think it's crazy. I do, however, go to the comments and I do ask the questions that they ask. Um, if it's inappropriate or I think it's a little bit too out there, I won't ask it because I ask people to be respectful. You can ask a question. I don't care about doing that because I'm just like you. I'm pretty open in that. But
Right.
if it gets too disrespectful, I will not. So I want everybody to be respectful. I think that we can converse with each other with respect. Get our point across that way, but still be respectful. So that's how I hold things. And yeah. So with that being said, let's just jump into it.
Let's get
So
it started.
like I said, I don't know a whole lot about you. So, um, mostly because I'm really not very political at all, right? I kind of got thrown into this realm a little bit, right? So I don't actually live in the city of Flint, right, anymore.
I heard you say
So
that at the ARPA meeting.
yeah, so I don't follow it as much. I do, but I don't. And then people laugh and think I'm being funny, but I'm dead ass when I say I got a little touch of ADD, so I can't watch the council meetings like that. I get it. I can switch it, and because you're gonna see me in this. I'm gonna tell you right now. You're gonna see me. I'm gonna get to twisted. I'm gonna get to. I got a little touch of ADD, and I can't. I can't sit still too long, and them meetings be kind of long. So I don't get everything out of there everybody else get out of it. So I don't talk about it too much. Right?
Understood.
Yeah. So
Where do you want to start?
so just start and just tell me a little bit about you. Give me some little background about Tanya Burns.
And I guess I don't know where to start. I think um, when you talk about not being political, I'm a news person, but I'm not. It's hard to say. I don't like the term politician because it
Mm-hmm.
is it is such now with how all of our government is ran. It's not a good word. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I like to say I'm a community member because it takes other community members to change our community, and we have to all use our voice. Um,
Right.
I'm a mom. I have 3 children. Um, I love them, but I don't like them all the time. But
Ooh, listen, I am right there with you. I am right there with you. I'm telling
right,
you.
right. And that middle child I got, ooh, he got a bunch of mouth. Woo. But I'm from
Whew.
Flint. I went to public schools. I've always had a passion for Flint. Um, what really made me settle down to I've always followed politics and helped many of our candidates. Um, contributing, staying in contact with them. Um, I never I've never, Flint has never been far from my heart, let me say that. Even when I
Okay.
was back and forth up until about 3 years ago, maybe 3.5 years ago, we'll say almost four, where I traveled back and forth because I lived in Chicago, right outside of Chicago, and I was doing like a
Oh,
dual residency. Um, and my business had been there for about 15 years. So for me, I see Flint different and I see business different. And
okay.
what made me really settle down was one, I got really sick. People will think that what they see that you're okay. And I was not okay. When you're a business owner, you are who your business is. And
Mm-hmm.
people don't get that part.
Mm-hmm.
And when I finally said, okay, when our doctor said, hey, you got to take care of this. I talk about women, African American women, we suffer from fibroids more than any other race. I think 86% of us may have a fibroid at some time in our life. And that is one of the things that I work on and I speak about because that
Okay.
almost took my life. I have one of the largest fibroids that my OBGYN had seen and had removed. And
Oh
it
wow.
was the size of a 32-week-old fetus.
What?
Yeah, and I was carrying that in me. So,
Oh my goodness gracious.
when it takes that, your body was feed like the blood and everything. It feeds it. I would lose about 14 days or half of my month. I would lose because I was sick. I couldn't do anything really, and
Oh,
I lost my hair. I had no. I've been anemic for years, and then your blood count. I mean, it's been a lot. So when you're trying to recover from that, once when they removed it, um, I mean that it takes a time for your body to heal.
yeah,
It takes time, and
yeah.
so that's why I work with some of the foundations on fibroids and for women, minority women with health issues, because we often work so hard that to take care of our families that we don't take care of ourselves, and we don't. And it's like, how do we know how to take care of ourselves? Because we model ourselves after our parents and our grandparents. And bless you, all the women in my family,
Thank
they
you.
work hard. I mean, we as a black woman, you really aren't afforded that same, well, honey, get well, get better, and get better. Who's gonna take care of you? you know that is but that was my reality. So when I got sick, and then of course I'm better now.
I'm
My
glad
step
that you are better.
this me too. Me
Yeah.
too, me
Well, that's
too.
a blessing. Thank God for that.
And I'm thankful for that. And for me, um, different women, as I learned, different women go through things. You generally it is to have a hysterectomy. Most women will have one, or a partial one, and I'm very open and honest. I had a partial one, but and they took out the fibroid, and I've shown it before because people need to see if it's your body, pay attention to it. I couldn't
Yeah.
stay. Like I tell people, I want to apologize for being alive to be with my kids. Yeah, they can say whatever they want to say. I am not going to apologize for whatever hardships that I am coming out of now, because I'm
Yeah.
alive to be with my children.
And
But
that's a blessing.
thank
And
you,
and speaking of your children, I got to see a little picture of them. They're beautiful.
thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm very proud of my kids, my nieces, and my nephews. Because that's who the position is counsel. I should be preparing someone younger to take this position. It is not for me to sit in this position, for a
Yeah.
long length of time. It is for me to prepare it, leave it in a better condition from whence I found it in, to help move Flint forward. And that to me is, I think, what's been missing with Flint. We don't prepare for the future. And
I'm
with me,
I'm so glad you said that. I really am. I don't know if you've seen it, you might not have seen it, but I had a conversation with Pastor Derek Aldridge, and
mhm,
I asked him, I said, was the issue the leadership? Where it was really, the question was, where did we drop the ball, right? And
yeah,
I said, was it the leadership? Was it that they just said, hey, I'm doing this, that's what it is, it's gonna be my way or the highway? Did we not pass it on to the people under us, or did we pass it to the wrong people?
I think it's all of that. And I'm gonna be honest with you. When I
Okay.
first went, I never applied for any grants. Um,
Okay.
and I went into business, and I worked for another company, a Jewish gentleman, and I grew his company rather rapidly and quickly. And then he said, "Hey, you got 30 days, either you take it over," because I was running. He never even came into the office. Never
Mm,
came. His name was Bill. William. And he didn't even sign his own checks. He would, look, write me out a
mm.
check, and I knew how to run the business. And I had worked with him for so many years. He says, look, I know you're going to leave. Um, and if you can close in 30 days, wrap it up, um, I'll sell you the business. And that's what I did. I changed the name, and I grew it, to Illinois. He had only had it in Flint. And at that time it was on Dort Highway, and I kept it on Dort Highway. And then I moved to a bigger location. When on a Saturday afternoon, when I had all three of my kids, I was about to, someone tried to rob me in the parking lot. So
Mm.
so it was like, okay, I need to change for my safety because I work long hours. I'm used to working. So I changed, bought some property, and to where I could, be at work late and, do what I needed to do. Then I grew it to Illinois. And so I was in Illinois. And I like business. I like seeing things grow and change.
Yeah.
And we didn't have that. I mean, the thing was, who were our mentors telling us that this is how we handle business? It kind of almost seemed like a grab bag, that everyone was
Mhm.
grabbing what they got, and however they got it, they kept it to themselves. They didn't tell the process. Oh, well, this is what you need to do to get business, or to get business. You need to get a business license. You need to apply for FIN number. EIN number. You need to open up a bank account. You need to make sure you get a Duns and Bradstreet number. No one tells you really how to do everything. And my children have to work in the office with me. All three. It wasn't a question. I didn't give allowance for free. They had to work. None of them are doing the business now, but it prepared them to having a work skill and a work ethic. My son does not. I taught him how to put in I can put in an alarm system, but listen, it may take me a full day when it may take a technician an hour and a half or 2 hours. And
Okay.
my son, he was taught how to put in security cameras, surveillance systems, how to put in an alarm system. So that's a second stream of income for him. Now, however, he said that second middle child said, I didn't like school. He didn't want to go to college. So, and listen, we couldn't have went through college with him because getting him through grades K through 12 was enough. So he drives trucks. So he's in the process
Okay.
of getting his own trucking company. But he has a work ethic. So him at the age of he's 26 now, he has two streams of income. He can do security cameras, surveillance cameras, alarm systems, along with truck driving. He has all his licenses to drive the chemicals and so on. So everyone isn't college bound, which is my point for that. We can do other things as opposed to going to college. Now, my daughter, she is in the professional world, and she's and she's doing well. So my third one, I don't talk about him because he's not of age, and because of some of the nasty people during the election with the
I
lies.
understand.
Yeah, and it's
I
unfortunate.
understand.
So thank you for that.
I
So,
totally understand.
but he is a wonderful child, straight A's, National Junior Honor Society.
That's
He
beautiful.
it is, and his life, I will I will make sure it will not be disrupted. So
Absolutely, as you should.
so
Well,
with
good, great job, Mom.
well, thank you. So when we talk about how business move in Flint, we look at how many African American businesses do we have in Flint, and how do they get started. We needed to have we still need to have in economic development something for Black people, because we're left out. And we look at downtown. How many businesses do we have downtown? Raspberries was downtown, and Raspberries um, it's been sold. I believe Phil Schultz bought that, and that's where they wanted to put the dispensary downtown at. So we look at our Black people in our community getting their fair share. No, they're not. We look at all the dispensaries. How many of these dispensaries in Flint are minority owned? For me, that should have been some type. We need to have. Detroit has it to where you have to have the guidelines. So many, minorities. You have to live in the city 6 years. There should have been some more stringent requirements. But because there
I
aren't, we have
agree.
to deal with right. We have to deal with what is on the books right now. And what's on the books right now is what I look at and I read almost every night. Because educating myself on that.
So I have a question with that.
Yes,
Being that you are a businesswoman and um we have to look at it as a business, right? Because we won't prosper if we don't.
right.
How how do we get the other council people to have that same mindset? Because I say this all the time. So when I talk to Dennis Pfeiffer, when I talk to Ms. Liddell Lewis, I've even talked to Eric Mays. I haven't talked to him on camera yet. However, I have. So my question is, so to me and for me, everybody lives in the city of Flint. And if we all love the city and the Flint, we should have one mind and one goal, right? And that's to see the city prosper, to grow, and to take our city back, right? With that being said, I just feel like everybody should have the same mindset as it relates to Flint. So you in the sixth ward, you have these things that you need. You have boom, boom, boom that the people in your ward would like, and so you're advocating for that, and you're going and you're saying, "Hey, listen, I'm making a motion to have boom, boom, boom," right? And everybody, if it makes sense, should be like, "Of course, I second it. Third, everybody, yay, nay,
Mhm.
right? Everybody should be a yay. The same with the third ward. Like we all should be able to come to the table and say this, right? However, that's not the case. And I've been listening to, and when it gets brought up, like it makes sense. And usually everything everybody says about their ward and what they need makes sense. But you can't get five people. Damn it, you can't get five people to say yes for nothing, let alone try to get six to say
Right.
yes.
And I think
What?
that,
How do we change that?
well, one of the things is I think that coming into is a lot of the people who are you have six new elected people, and we look at old habits and new habits, and even that would
Yeah.
include for those of us who followed Flint politics. You know,
Yeah.
my attendance was better than some of the people. Councilman Mays has had, or President Mays, he does have the best attendance. Second best attendance who didn't miss a council meeting would be me, and I wasn't on council. So being there is
Mm-hmm.
important.
Okay.
And when we look at how do we get people to, they got to get out their feelings. I don't care what municipality it is. If you watch pull up any other council meeting, it's not about you. You weren't elected to just represent you. You represent the people, the constituents. And when you
Yes.
have to have like-minded people. And the other part is leadership. Whoever the president is has got to be able to garner 5 votes to bring anything forward. If you cannot garner 5 votes, how do you move the city forward? That's what the president has to do with the council. That's just a fact. It has nothing to do with I like you or dislike you. If you don't have 5 votes, you have to check your leadership. And
Bless you for saying that. Bless you for saying it's not about if I like you or don't like you.
right,
Because I am on the outside looking in. I'm looking in the fishbowl, right?
right,
And for me, and to me, it just seems like it's a I don't like you game. So I'm gonna
yeah.
get in this clique because we all don't like you, or I'm gonna get in this clique because we all don't like you, and I'm gonna do this because I don't like none of y'all.
And
Right?
it's you're correct. And in the meantime, guess what's going on? Get and this is the thing.
Flint is
This is the
suffering.
stuff that don't even matter. People need to look at what is happening at I-69 and Saginaw Street.
Mm,
You look where Club 69 was put at, or used to be the LLT, or with Larry's Last Try, the strip club. Then it was the Club
yeah,
69. That building was bought for a considerable amount for a tear down to put up $1 million building. They were able to close, they're closing off streets. They're demolishing homes over there right now.
yep,
Demolishing.
absolutely.
So it looks back, going all the way back to that Red Cross. So progress is moving. When you over here arguing about stuff that don't matter, at a point, because they're going to put in position to protect their interests, and some people are going to be put out. So because progress is, you have to have progress. It can't say, well, it used to be this way. Listen, I used to be a size 6. I'm not a size 6 no more. So
I
things
know
ain't
that's
gonna
right.
always be the way they used to be. So when we look at
I know that's
progress,
right.
and we look at that building on that corner of Wellington and Saginaw Street, right at I-69,
Yeah,
that's progress. I never saw a building go so quick in my life. Their permitting, their architectural, the designs were approved. Everything went up quickly. Why? Because they had a plan. They're moving forward. What the council has to do is move forward. And I look at how far are they extending that to? Well, it's going to extend all the way down to, you're looking at Saginaw Street to Hemp Road, used to be the old Fisher One, where my grandfather used to work. Who's
mm-hmm.
being left out of this? Black people. Now we look at where we used to live in and got rid of St. John's, and guess who lived in them homes over by where this new building is at on Saginaw Street? Black people. Now they buying them out and they're being relocated. I think one home sold for 90,000 for a tear down, and she was relocated into the 6th ward. But I have property over there, so I know what's going on. I pay attention to the landscape. So when we talk about that, we gotta look at, what is Flint doing? What is the progress? And it's either we're gonna put ourselves into the plans, because they're excluding us right now.
Yeah,
And when
they
we
are.
look at how our businesses treated when they come to Flint and to city council, it's not good. You had the Dados who wanted to open up a dispensary where the old Security Federal Credit Union used to be, and they lost $50,000 because it didn't pass through our council in enough time. So the real estate, because it's an agreement, you just put your down payment. These are the terms. You have to have this money by this date or get your own financing. That time went up. The real estate company gets to keep their 50,000, and they don't, it's just a loss for them.
Damn.
So we not moving business, and the Dados have got markets and businesses, in the communities,
and they've been here for a long time.
A long time. So we look at that, right? So this is a business that's been doing business, and they couldn't get business done through the council. You got to look at our leadership. No one wants to bring business to Flint. I worked in economic development, and I tell people every day. I mean, I've always said, look, Tanya Burns got fired every day when she worked for the city of Flint, because I worked with the mayor, and I did. Every day, my job was threatened that, don't think I won't fire you. I'm like, yeah, okay, well, I got fired yesterday. I got fired every day. For me, it's living and walking in my truth. And I didn't get fired. I was laid off, Jim Durian and we were never called back. I don't know how that really works when you're still hiring other people, but anyways, so when we look at how do we move Flint forward, we did a focus group. We had 2 focus groups, Jim Durian and when I worked in economic development. The number one complaint for businesses in the focus group, why they would not come to Flint and why they didn't want to do business in Flint and would not bring business to Flint, and why business was steered to Grand Blanc, Fenton, Burton, all of those reasons was because the Flint City Council. The Flint City Council. So we look at
how disheartening is that?
It's very so when we look at how is it affecting our quality of life? If you're a business, you don't want to bring it. You don't want to bring your business here. I don't understand how we lost Mahindra. Mahindra was supposed to come here to the old Buick site. I don't know what happened to that. We look at what's happening to be, like I say, and these are our focus groups that said because of city council. So when we look at city council now, you cannot, there's decorum. And I have said there's no quorum without decorum. I will use my nice words. I will be professional, but there's always that other side that I am still Black. And I understand that.
Okay.
I am not fooled by that. And the industry that I have worked in for the past 25 plus years is a white male dominated industry. So I have no problem working around it.
I get it.
Right. I have no problem. And I don't play the games. You don't get to talk about, they had a big thing about your president, Obama. I'm like, oh, you're about to get checked, But when we look at what happens, why won't businesses come here? Who wants to be sitting in council at 4:00 in the morning? Who can afford to lose $50,000? Who can afford to keep wondering if your zoning is going to pass? It's too much and too many problems. And guess what? The other people say, "Hey, bring your business here. We got you. We'll even give you a tax abatement. You want an Oprah? We'll give that to you too." This is how you do business. And when they get on there and they want to argue about their personal feelings, and the last council, they did a lot of arguing. I didn't miss none of those council meetings. If I wasn't there in the council chambers, I watched them online when we went from the pandemic. And before then, I would be in the council chambers. Why? Because I need to know what was going on in my community. And right now, until leadership, they got to figure it out. It has to change. We're holding back our own progress by who we elect. And I have said to my constituents, if I'm not doing what I should be doing to move the city forward, then y'all need to recall me. You need to do what you need to do. My phone rings 7 days a week. People keep telling me, you need to get business hours, Tanya. Well, it's something that's important to somebody. May not, it's going to be different levels of importance. And so for me, if it's the trash, and there's a lot of blight issues, that's what's important to them. But I still have to do the business of the city.
I'm really glad that you touched on people and their feelings and on the council and that, because yes, I've seen it, and usually I catch the replay of it because it don't happen early in the conversation. So like I tell you, my ADD don't allow me to get to that point. But when I came to council the other day,
I saw you in the back.
You saw me, yes.
I saw you in the back, like 2-3 rows from the back.
Yeah,
like, our media group is here.
we was in there, and I slid in there. I said, because I got to do better. It's open up. I got to do better. I'm going to try. And, I get on here and everybody get to asking me about counsel and all that. I'll be like, Lord, I don't know. I done, I done slid off after 15 minutes. But I said, okay, I'm going to do better. I got you. I got you. And so I went and I stayed for like 3 hours. No lie. I swear to God. I stayed for like 3 hours. I really did. And, but that was a thing for me. I said, I can't keep sitting here while folks in their feelings and they talking about. Now I know he probably get mad at me because he was mad at me in council because he called us out in there. I can't take the meltdowns. And Quincy Murphy had one before. And I didn't particularly like the way that he came at you that last time. I watched it. I wasn't there for that when I actually watched it. But then he did that, and I just was like, I said, you can't be worrying about me in the podcast, and you got city business to do. Because when he called it out, he was like, you and y'all talking about me, and you're talking about me in your podcast. I'm damn, wait, hold on. I ain't come here for this. I'm like, I just feel like, and I said this on the last podcast, I said, Quincy Murphy has potential to be a really great councilman. However, I don't know how he can get out his feelings because he can never get out his feelings. Everything sparks him. Everything is a trigger for him. And if you got a hairline trigger, I don't think that's the place for you.
And I want to be clear. I'm not saying, and Councilman Murphy is not the only person who doesn't agree with Tanya Burns.
Absolutely not.
And he's not. And I don't take that personal when we're on that floor, because afterwards, and people will say, well, she always wants to call people up and have a personal conversation. I absolutely do, because we do not need to be displaying behavior that everything is not meant for the public. And it's not just him. I've had it with Councilman Mays. I've had it with Councilwoman Worthing. I've had some disagreements with Councilwoman Priestley. And I mean throughout it, and I call them. So I don't take it. I know how he's very passionate. I had Councilman Mays yell out to me, "That's why Neelan, I fired you." I'm like, you know what? That's actually not why. And I'm like, if you're gonna get it right, please tell my story right.
But you know what I told him? I told Eric Mays, I said, it's okay to be passionate, but your passion can turn into disrespect.
Yeah,
and it should.
Yeah.
And but that's the same thing for Quincy. I understand your passion because I get passionate too, and I get worked up and I get passionate too. But it's a thin line. You can't let your passion turn over into the disrespect, and you can't let your passion get you into your feelings to where you forget about the business at hand.
And I think him and Councilman, they need to figure that part out. The other part with, I think both of them, and what, looking at what are their strengths. Councilman Murphy works really hard in his district, and he mows grass. He's gotten grants. We lived on Moore Street when I was a little girl. So Dewey Park was, that was the park that one of the parks you could go to. And he has, adopted that park. So his good work that he's done for the community should not overshadow his disagreement that he's having with some council members, and his disagreement with me, because he's called me afterwards, and I'm fine with that. And my thing is, I'm not the type that whatever you see on there, that's council. That's not my whole life. But we do have conversations behind that, because I'm not veering off my course to take care of the business. I'm not trying to fix nobody's personality. I'm not telling nobody they need to go to therapy. That is not my job. My job is to make sure I move the city, the business of the city forward, and that we have to have enough votes to get something done. So we have to come together as a council. And in our training, I have suggested to the city clerk that we get team building, because everyone may not know how to work in a group as a team. And how do we collectively say, this is this person's strength, this is this person's strength, and then make each person's strength, be something that we can use to move the city forward. And that's what we have to do, instead of us looking at each other's faults and finding the blame.
Has somebody ever said, hey, let's have a come to Jesus meeting between all 9 of us? outside of here so we can hash some of this other shit out and not this and not be looking like clowns on council? Can we just have a come to Jesus meeting somewhere else? Because I feel like that's what needs to happen.
We had a Michigan Municipal League training, and it was good. And we talked about the issues.
Okay.
We did that, and we need more training like that. There was only
Okay.
one council person that didn't attend, but all
Mm.
other 8 stopped their busy days and they went. We were there. Then we had the
If I guess the right name, will you tell me?
yeah, well, I mean, hey, yeah, I will.
Was it Eva?
Yes, yeah, she wasn't in attendance.
What you okay?
In
You know
attendance,
what?
it was important because we talked about disruptive behavior during in that meeting, and how
Okay.
do we handle it? What do we do? So how do we move together? Training should have been done in December. It was delayed, but we were getting it. Then we just had the conferences in Lansing, which were good
Okay.
team building for us, to build. I think 7 of us went. I think 7 of us went. And it was good. It was good. And we
Well,
can only benefit and grow from the amount of training and networking that we do.
that's good to hear. I think a lot of that needs to happen because we are just looking kind of crazy. And so tell me, what are your top three? So if everybody in council, if everybody, including the mayor, was to come to you and say, "Hey, what are your top three items that you think that we need to just boom, boom, boom right now to move the city forward?" What would they be?
One, we need to work on economic development. And we need a real economic development department because it has been dismantled. Now I'm told we got someone else coming in.
Hmm.
We supposed some guy Bailey supposed to be there, and then Samantha. I'm not seeing what we're doing in economic development. And basically, I'm just not. That's not. I'm not. That needs some work. Also, what are we doing with the ARPA funds? We need a complete plan for ARPA. Third, and this probably should be first, and I'm gonna be honest with you, don't no one wants to bring their business when Flint's crime rate is high. They just don't. So I have been working with Chief Green, which I guess I was his biggest adversary at first because I was like, you didn't return my call since May 22nd. You are
Mm.
the chief of police. But now we
Hmm.
do have a good dialogue and we're working on some things together. And after I was elected, let me say that. But
Okay.
before there was that part where um, he did not respond, and there was very real issues, very real. And it's not trying to, um, people talk about. I'm gonna say use the example Sunoco. I knew it was a problem. It's 2-3 blocks away from me. I know the owner, so to not address that. And I called him to the mat about it. I'm like, look, you've got to, and he didn't get my nice words, the owner.
Hmm.
He did not get him because I know him. I know him. And I told him, you got to do something. I said, why are your cameras not hooked up? And he had a problem with Mayor Neely. And I said, that has not, he did. And I said, that has nothing to do with what's going on. When I'm going up there, people calling me, and I wasn't, I was not elected. I was running them. I said, but you got people walking around that parking lot with, assault rifles and it's the hangout. I said, and I'm hearing, but that wasn't any shooting. I said, tell it to anybody else. I hear it sitting in my living room. So we developed a 3-point plan. And I think somebody said, well, how's that 3-point plan working? Well, the 3-point plan is working very well because part of that plan was making sure that the cameras were networked back to the intelligence center, making
Mm.
sure that the loitering signs were posted and that loitering would stop and that they had security, and making sure that they were in compliance with all the city the laws, and being compliant, and then keeping a log of when they called the police. Now, the part when this person wrote that was which is disheartening is that was a homicide. Somebody left their life. Don't use me to make a point on someone else's death about an
Absolutely.
election. She shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry she lost the election, but come help me make our community better because together we can change it. So the 3-point plan, yes, and it's not something that cost the city money. And then working with the chief on that. I made sure that steering that $500,000. I know that he's having a problem getting people hired, making sure we got that $500,000 pushed through of the ARPA funds because hiring police officers, everyone is giving them incentives, and he was losing them at a rapid rate. So making sure got that passed and spearheaded that with him, making sure, which have been stuck in council, making sure our officers, our police, our fire, our 1,600 workers and 1,799 workers, making sure they got their money, because that didn't pass through committee. So I called the union heads and I said, look, you need to have them come sit in city council. They can tell you no when you're not here, but it's a whole different game when you sitting in front of them and they know they have had the need to call 911 because it's a fire, it's a shooting, or they had a water main break. Let them tell you no while you sit here in city council chambers. Because that to me, it was too many no's for me, but I know all of them had crimes and homicides in their wards. So for me, let's get the work done.
Okay. So oh no, go finish us.
No,
Finish
go
up.
ahead, go ahead.
So I have a question for you. I was talking to a bunch of people in it, and I read that Dennis Pfeiffer wanted to have like corner stores, neighborhood stores, and all of that liquor stores closed at 10 o'clock. So I was kind of conflicted with that, and I kind of talked to him about it, and I I told him my reasonings and why I was kind of conflicted about it. Um, I said to him that I didn't think closing it at 10 o'clock was going to make a, a difference as far as like where people are hanging out. They don't need the store to be open for them to hang out at it. That's the first thing. They don't need it to be open to hang out at it. We seen that during COVID. They don't need that.
Donuts.
Absolutely.
The
And
owners
so
are
my
good friends
thing
of
was,
mine.
yeah. So my thing was is that I said, well, what about the people? And I was using myself as an example because when my children were small and younger, I worked third shifts. And I worked third shift so I could, be at home with them for the day and I didn't miss anything. So I said, what happens when I'm on my way to work and I need to run by the store for something and it's closed? I ain't got time to be trying to find a Walmart or a Myers.
Right.
You know,
That's
I'm gonna
not in
run
the
by
city limits.
not. There's nothing I could do. Or what happens if I don't have a vehicle and that corner store and my baby has a fever and that's where I can get the Tylenol from, or
Or
I run out of
Motrin.
milk in the middle of the night and that's where I can go to get the milk from. I get it. I totally get it. But I don't think closing at 10 o'clock is the thing. I'm just saying that because I've been that young parent that my car was down or it was in the shop and I had to run to the corner store, and thank God it was right there and it was open at 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, right? Because I'd have been messed up. Or, like I said, I worked third shift for a long time, and trying to run to the store because I'm like, dang, I ain't grab me nothing for lunch, or I need a juice, or I get something, real quick to go. I get it. But and then the second part to my that was I saying was how can you keep that from trickling off into the neighborhoods, right? Like he said his answer was is that he was making that sure that there was another store that was less than, I think he said 300 feet from a residence, and he was making sure that there was one within a 1 mile radius or something like that. Who the hell finna walk 1 mile with a lap baby?
Right. Well,
You know what I'm saying?
that resolution came up and it failed.
Okay.
We did not, and here's the thing: we also had Officer Metcalf, who's in there, who during city council meetings, he actually owns a store, and it's a party store,
Ah,
and so he spoke about that it would not help and how much money his business would lose, and I before he had spoken, I had spoken. The problem gets back to enforcement. I had shootings that happened in my ward. Well, one is it will be my ward, which is actually his ward now, but I will gain two of these stores. Both
okay.
of these stores had shootings. One at 12:35, 4 in the afternoon, the other one at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So a 10 o'clock closing does not affect that. That doesn't affect people. The lawlessness is because we don't have enough patrols. Lawlessness also have mental health services. You have people out here who need mental health services. So people just don't, we have enough patrols with police. You just don't speed, you get a ticket. You're not up there acting a fool because you know that you may get arrested. We don't have enough enforcement, but we need to make sure we're getting wraparound services also for people in our community. But closing for
Yeah.
the stores, I looked at a video a couple weeks ago. A car was heading south, no, east on Court. They were at the store. They started shooting at the car. One person had a handgun. The second person, his car was backed up. He gets on top of his roof, shooting into traffic using a automatic assault rifle. Now the car then is like, 300 or 400 feet down. And it's traveling, and this is at 1 something in the afternoon. So that does not help. Furthermore, we don't have, a demographic. The eighth ward is a different demographic from the first, second, third, fourth, half of fifth, and half of sixth. It's a different demographic. Yeah. So they do not have access to transportation. Yeah. They do not have access to, if they say, if you want, and the people act like it's something's wrong with buying wine or having liquor. No, it's not. You have to make sure you drink and be responsible. So liquor stores just don't make you a criminal. That needs to stop. Absolutely that. Not. People hang out at Don Donuts and they sell donuts. They close at 9:00. Clio Road shuts down. It's a parking lot. The problem is enforcement. That's a police issue that I have talked to and dealing with Chief Green on. So that is not, closing a liquor store does not solve our problems, because China Garden is closed, McDonald's is closed during that time, and we have problems. They're just sitting there, they're loitering. It's an enforcement problem. I don't want us to, if we enforce the ordinances that are on the books right now, which aren't being enforced, we won't have a problem. Writing another law does not mean that it goes away. It means it's another law on the books that's not going to be enforced. Enforce what we got.
Yeah. So with that being said, I'm glad we're getting to know each other right now. So I'm gonna tell you where I stand with it. I'm not the biggest fan of the police thing, right? I'm not the biggest fan of adding more police. Maybe if we went back to, you have to live in the city, where you police in, maybe I would feel a little bit different, because, sometimes you get profiled, right? Because they don't live there. They claim they're afraid because they don't know, they don't live there, they don't understand, right? So I'm not a huge advocate of police, but I get it, right?
Well, let me say this. So residency, I've had to have residency because of my husband before, and I had to live in the city, and it was changed. And I'm gonna tell you why when it was changed, people goes to the school system. Flint's had failing schools for over 20 years. Yeah. And so people move out. But when we look at, I get what you're saying, you're not a fan of police, but you have to have enough police to enforce. Now, when I said wraparound services, you can't have, and there's a program, I've talked about this for years, and it's called Cahoots, where the police aren't dispatched to someone who, there's a mental health service, someone who hasn't been taking their meds. The police or teens who have gotten into some trouble, and it's a medic team, it's like a social worker, it's a 3-person team that are dispatched instead of the police. This is what we need here. This is what we need. Now, the county passed that millage for this, but I don't know, and I'll be speaking at the county. I don't know what the county doing with this millage money, because they should have this.
Okay, yes. So that was the second part to what I was getting ready to say. Do you or would you advocate for some of these other things, like for conflict resolution, and like some of these other like let's take man up peacekeepers and urban peace corps, for instance? Those are two that I know off the top of my head that want to be out there and helping police our neighborhoods and doing conflict resolution and things like that. Are you for funding those type of things to actually help and advocate in the city?
Those are part of what I call which the county should be paying for too, because that is part of mental health services and services for the community that they're supposed to be helping. They're not spending their dollars. So everyone keeps, when we talk about leveraging dollars, they want to keep using Flint dollars. And we need to make the county say, if Flint is spending this How much are you going to spend so that we make sure we're funding these programs correctly? And then the
Okay.
programs have to be licensed and approved by the state for the funding. So, I mean, we need to be meeting with the county on these because, I mean, it's a need. It's spring, and the summertime get hot around here, and violence goes up. We are now entering into we're in April, that peak time where violence and homicide, the crime rate goes up.
Mm-hmm.
So the programs are going to have to be approved by the state, and then also by the city. But we need to. I don't believe in a carceration. I'm a mom of two young men. I don't believe everything.
Me too.
Yeah, it's so we teach our kids when they go out the door. Okay, make sure you be careful. If the police stop you, answer their questions. Call me on the phone
Absolutely.
so I can hear what's going on. If you need to go live, go live. And as opposed to a white child that just goes out the door, the only thing the parent generally says is, "Okay, see you when you get back. Have fun." That's
And
not what a black mom
don't
does.
drink and drive.
Right. We don't, our issues are so much different. My son left the house about a month ago. He hadn't made it 2 blocks down the street and he called me. I said, "What's up?" He said, I want you to know I just got pulled over. My son is licensed to carry a gun. And so he says, "I just got pulled
Mine
over
too.
and I got you." I told him I was calling my mom and I said, "Okay, are what did they pull you over for?" They thought he looked suspicious because he has dread. I said, "Well,
Mine too.
he was driving erratic. He had just left. How erratic you gonna go on Berkeley Street? You 2 blocks down."
Yeah.
And to me, I know that they profile young black men, and he has dreads. So my question to with our community as a mom and as a black mom, every day, I don't care what skin tone that you are of black, you check that box, you're black,
Yeah.
and they treat you like you're black.
Yeah.
And he was cool, but he followed the instructions that I have been giving him since he
Mm-hmm.
was a teenager. Call your
Mm-hmm.
mom, give them what they say, don't question them, but make sure you have, someone can witness. And I was, like, I'm getting my purse, I'm getting ready, and
Baby,
I'm
listen.
going to check on my baby, because that's
Yeah.
what we do. But we don't get the same instructions. So we talk about police, and I've talked with the Michigan State Post Commander, Yvonne Brantley, and her and I have some just very straight. She's like, "Look, I want them, number one, if someone ever pulling somebody over and it's wrong or something, you call and let me know," because she's community policing. And she said, "I don't want them coming here pulling people over for nothing." She had a program and has a program. If you pull someone over and the child doesn't have a car seat, they get them a car seat. So they're not issuing a ticket. She also have if they're without, say, they license plate with this program, if their tags have been expired. Hey, I didn't have the money, I didn't get them. Guess what they were doing? Get them the money to get their tags. So when we talk about what we need to do, extraordinary things for our community, we all have to know, how do we work these things together? Because the people will tell you, even the Michigan State Police, they only pulling you over if you got, they're gonna let you go unless you got, some guns or, other than that, they letting you go. They're letting
Okay.
you go. But we have to, you have to have a level of police. Police are not there to become, to keep the thumb on the neck. I don't believe in that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know any officers like that. My husband's retired from the police department. I don't know any like that. All of the Black Police Officers Association, I don't know any of them that are like that, because I don't deal with crooked officers. I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
We have to
Okay.
have someone's got to write the tickets for speeding, and someone, and we have
Absolutely.
domestic violence calls. So when we have a domestic violence call, you got to have police to answer to that call.
Mm-hmm.
You have to,
Absolutely.
but they need wraparound services too.
I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly, especially the mental health aspect of it.
Right,
I'm a huge advocate for mental health. Um, Whether you have a huge mental health problem or it's just that you need to reset and recharge. I think
right.
that mental health is very, very, very important all the way around. And I think our whole city needs some counseling. We all have PTSD and all kinds of stuff. And I
Listen,
think that we
and I do
we
too.
all
I
need
need after council meetings, I'll be
everybody.
like, "Y'all know that's my post traumatic stress disorder the next day recovery."
Yeah. And we need that. We need to reset and recharge. So I have another question for you. So um I being that we just got out of women's History Month, and you all did a resolution at the council meeting for that. Dr. Liddell Lewis had written something up that was it was really nice. I enjoyed that. Um, Black women, we are. I had a conversation with some people. I don't discuss very many things, because people are very. I'm very opinionated, and I'm very bold in my opinions, right? Because it just is what it is, how I feel. And we can talk about it, and we can discuss it, we can converse about it, we can debate about it, you know, you know, because either you can get me to see it in your light and I come to your light, or I can see it at yours. We meet in the middle, or we agree to disagree. I'm fine with
Right.
that. So I I always advocate, and I always say, like I love Black men, and I think that they're under attack or whatever. I said, however, I said Black women are under attack. Black women are just, I said, they hate us more than you think they do. And I said, and the guy said, well, why do you say that? I said, because we can keep the world black. And he said, I've never even thought about it like that. I said, why would they not hate us? Because I can keep having Black babies and I can keep the world black. Of course we under attack. Of course they hate us. Of course they don't love us. Of course they don't want to see us prosper. Of course they don't want to see us elevate and stuff. And he was just like, I get it, but I don't think that's a thing. Do you feel like we are under attack?
I think black, if we have some, first the black community, but then it's black women.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're very undervalued and underappreciated, and we have had to work the hardest for respect.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then we often have to fight for respect with our black male counterparts, which makes it hard because they want to be at the level, a lot of them, I'm not going to, it's not to generalize, but there are those who want to be at the level of respect, um, to where they, as a white man, that you want that same respect. White privilege is real, and I would
Very
say
real.
it's very real. And I would say people are like, oh, well, do you want $1 million, or do you want to be a white woman? Well, listen, a white woman get all kind of privileges. I mean, you go in, your people like, oh, you can get this. It's totally different. Let a black woman walk into a store with a big purse. They think you shoplifting. White woman? No, 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 no. It's totally different how the world sees black women and they see white women. And then we have to fight for what I feel our counterparts for respect. And let's say the new Supreme Court Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
People stated, oh, she's with the white man. She's married to a white man, white surgeon. He's a medical doctor. And then all three of President Biden's picks were married to white men. Okay, black women have been kind of forced because black men have had a choice of really a lot of people say, well, you get these NBA stars or these athletes who make it and they elevate a white woman to that status without elevating a black woman. So it changes. So black women have this, they're becoming more educated. They're getting their advanced degrees. So if you are let's say an attorney at the level she is, who is around her in her circle that she's dealing with? Who is she seeing and dealing with on a daily basis when she's going to work, when she's going to seminars, when she's going, through training? What is it that, who's in her daily, her environment that she sees? And we have to look at that. So it's nothing wrong. You love who you love. That's just what it is. But I think that we have to respect, say, Ketanji Brown, Brown Jackson, because she found love in whoever loved. She found love where she found it. She shouldn't be ridiculed about it. But the question, if and most black women say, hey, I want a black man, but where are they? I
Not
mean,
even not even only that. It's like you said, when you get to that level, you you can't just everybody can't go with you. You just can't pull somebody up in the ranks with you, right? You want somebody to be equally yoked with you as far as those things are concerned, right? You want to be able to converse about some things on a higher level because now that's where you at, right? I get it. I'm just gonna be totally honest
Yeah,
and say
I
I
just
get it.
think we should not, Black women and Black men should not be fighting against the same thing. We accepted that they dated every color outside of their, our race, and then it becomes different for a lot of Black, um, for some Black men when they see Black women who are, they on the level that, I mean, we aren't in them party. I mean, I'm not in Kataji's circle. you know we have to look at whose circle that they're in, and if
Mm-hmm.
they decide that they don't see color and they see common interests, she found love where love found her. Not my business. How's she doing her job is what I'm concerned about. Her personal life is not Tanya Burns' business.
Absolutely, absolutely. So being that you are in a white male dominated field, as am I, it makes you and so is she really. Like
Yes, she
so
is.
so is she. I think that's some things that some of the people that are, hating on her or speaking against her are not cognizant of, and they're not thinking about that, right? Because they're not thinking about that. That's what it is. Because I can see if later on in my life and I decided to marry a white man and white collar, high up in some corporate business or whatever, it's because that's where I'm at.
Right.
That's exactly where I'm at. And when you working in those fields, that's who you see 90% of your day. That's where you spend all your time at. So that's what you see. That's who
Well, the
what you
white guy
know.
obviously had game. I mean, I mean,
Something
I
made her
mean,
talk to him, go on a
right. I
date
mean,
with him from the beginning.
right. He had no problem approaching her. He had no problem. So I don't think,
So
I mean, and
boom, you hit it right there. He had no problem approaching her. And see, that's some of the problem with some of the black men. They're I don't know if it's intimidation or whatever it is. We don't get approached.
right.
So when Josh approached us and Tyrone sat over there in the corner and just looked, how you gonna be mad at me, Tyrone? You ain't come talk to me. But
Right.
Josh did. Josh did. Josh
And
did.
that's
Said,
true.
hey, would you like to go out with me? Absolutely, I would.
Right. And that's the thing that I think that they, maybe some men like, oh, I wouldn't think that you would have been available, or, you weren't in my, you know, like median, or,
But
people
did you
forget.
try?
Right. You have your personal life and you have your professional life. And when as Black women, my friends and when they're done working, they just want to chillax when they get home. They don't care what you do. Look, be able to pay your own bills. Anybody supporting you, but be able to carry your own. But when you
Be
home and
able to come
that's
and
your
pick me up.
right. Right. I mean, it's like, and it's we want the Black men to try to talk to us. We want the Black men to say, "Hey, sister," but if they ain't hollering at a sister, what you say, Josh? Josh
Josh,
will be hollering.
hey, Josh.
Hey there,
Hey,
buddy.
Josh.
But you gotta look at these guys approach these women. So it's not that sisters are necessarily see, maybe some do, but I think that you gotta, they have to look within themselves. Why aren't you talking to these Black women? And why are you leaving Black women behind? I mean, if it's an insecurity, or if you think she out earns you, or her education is further advanced, that's that you don't. Your education has nothing to do with the love for each other, and people
Yeah,
forget that part. It's
yeah,
it's a cultural thing. White culture and Black are just two different cultures, and they do not understand a lot of our culture. My son-in-law is white, and as Black as my kids, raised. Black History Month was every day in my
yeah.
house, and my son-in-law, like my daughter doesn't cook, so I had to show him how to cook all my recipes. And he loves to cook, so we cook together. And like I told him, in their culture, because I've dealt with so many white people, it's okay how they talk to, like the white men talk to their white women. I had to make that very clear to him. I carry a shovel and duct tape, and don't ever call my daughter out her government name, because her Black mama will get at you. Let me make that clear. That is not
baby,
ever acceptable. And he gets that.
ever at
Not ever.
all.
Right.
Period.
Right. Because it's a different thing. Like, and so him and I, we cook, and I love him more than anything. We cook. I've taught him how to make my greens, fried chicken. His family is originally from like Kentucky. So they eat Southern food. But it's a thing that we have to find our commonality. What do we have? That's the same interest. And that is what I look for. What do we all have in common? I can sit at anybody's table, but I'm gonna give you as my truth, whether you receive it or not. That's on you.
So you know what? With that being said, I think that um, I think that when you do date outside your race, like if you do decide to date,
and I never have.
Yeah. No. But especially Black men, I think that when you do, I think that dating her is very important. And when you dating her and getting her to understand you as a Black man, understand your plight in the world, and understand what happens to you on a daily basis, right? Because there are some you get with them and y'all party, y'all having, and y'all don't have those hard talks, right? And
Right.
those are the talks that you need to have. Those are some experiences that maybe she needs to have, like riding with you and being with you. Because at the end of the day, when you come home, she needs to be able to understand your plight.
Yeah.
That's hard for some people, right?
Yeah.
And so I challenge them to make sure that they do the work in dating them and making sure that they understand. Because I would hate for at the end of the day when you're doing this that y'all at odds because she don't get it, or you have an experience with the police and she's like, that ain't what they meant. It couldn't have been that bad. But all the while you thinking like, I could be dead right now. Shit, you could be all right fucking peeing me. You talk about it wasn't that bad.
Right.
And I'm saying that because I've heard those conversations and I'm like, oh God. I'm not saying that it shouldn't happen, because I agree with you. You love who you love. It doesn't make me one difference at all. But I think that those are the conversations that people should have. I think we should have those hard conversations. I think we should have those hard conversations in relationships, period. Right? Because it's some black ladies that some Black people in general that didn't live out this way and have no experience in that, have never even had the experience, can't say anything about it, right? I think we should be having those hard conversations with each other, period.
I agree. And I think we have to have the uncomfortable conversations. And that's one of the things for me. I have always invited or cooked dinner and had, talking over food, you know, and having that conversation, because you have to. And a lot of it's just simple things. And people think of white people, this white people, get down to it. We got basically the same problems. One just may feel more elite or superior, but when they get down to it, I remember telling, had a friend, him and his wife came over and he decided to tell his wife, well, your dad's an alcoholic. I'm like, listen, Black people, we don't do that. Black people rules that you don't come to my house and talk about your wife's, you know, father's alcohol issue. We don't do that. You don't ask Black people how much we make. You don't do that. You don't ask Black people, well, what made you buy property here? You don't do that. There are some cultural differences that we just don't do. And I think it's understanding each other's culture, that we have to have those conversations so they do understand that, there's a boundary. No, you can't touch my hair.
Yeah,
No.
hell no, you can't touch my hair. And please don't make me smack your damn hand for trying to reach up there.
Right. I had someone tell me, well, what kind of, it was Vera Wang perfume. And she said, oh, what type of perfume is that? I just love that perfume. And, I said, it's Vera Wang. She goes, oh, well, it'll smell different on my skin. I'm like, and you got a master's degree?
If you
I
shower,
want
it's gonna smell the same, damn it.
thank you. Thank you. I'm like, so when we talk about now, she was from Howell, so Howell, Michigan. So we get these. I think I think we have these issues that we have to look at. We do. But and for me, I answer and I told I'm very straightforward because I tell the truth because I don't have time to track a lie. And I said, hey, it's gonna be the same. I said, if you like it, you buy it. You want to, spray a little on you, you may not want to spend, that amount or whatever. But I think the thought that black people smelled funny or our scent was much different than a white person to me showed that once she had been around too many, in her culture, she didn't understand my black culture, which over the years she really learned black culture because her and my children, her children, grew up together. So she learned. So there was lessons, a lot of lessons, a lot.
Ooh,
And
honey,
even
I'm
her
sure.
husband called and asked me one day from work. He worked at a bank, and he called one of the tellers gal. And I said, he said, well, she got upset with me. What did I say wrong? I said, you called her gal. I said, and that's the equivalent to calling a black man boy. I said, and it goes back to it's disrespectful. I said, and it is identified as a racist term. Less than, why didn't you? She has a name tag. You need to make sure you use her name, use her government name.
Tanya, you just took me back to a situation. I was a supervisor at this plant. It was on third shift, and second and third shift were getting ready to change over, and I was still on third shift. And I went up to a one of the assembly lines, and this lady, she was she was working on the line, and there was some quality issues, and I went to talk to her about it. And she was on second shift. She's getting ready to go. I said, hey, I know that you're getting ready to go, but this, and needs to happen before you leave for the quality issue in order to set third shift up for the right thing. We went on and we had the conversation, and then I said, she asked me some more questions, and I was very stern, right? I
Mhm.
wasn't mean, I didn't raise my voice, but I was very stern because I've said this to you several times. I'm not going to keep saying this to you. So I was stern, very stern the last time that I said it. And Tanya, she called me a you people.
You people and you people. Did she point her finger?
She said, I don't understand it, but every time you people come over, I said, my neck had never snapped that hard in my life. I said, what? I said, come again? Say that again. And she said, I said, no, not the part. What did you say? She said, she immediately went to, I didn't mean it like that. I said, oh, no. You meant it like that because you just told me that you didn't mean it like that. It took everything in me.
Did you have to
Now,
pray on her?
woo, listen, it took everything in me to walk away because I was so mad. I was just like, she did not. I was
Oh,
in
listen,
Lapeer.
hold on. This is little behind because I didn't share it on my page.
You didn't share
Go.
it on your
I know, and I need to share it.
I was in Lapeer so you already know what was going on with in Lapeer, and I knew she meant it that way. So my issue was is that when someone else said that they were uncomfortable about it, because I didn't say anything about it being uncomfortable, I was gonna cool out and talk to her later and pull her to the side and talk to her later. Like you say, you get phone calls. I don't get phone calls. I do. I pull up in person and I'm gonna
You
pull you
pull
to the
up.
side. I do pull ups.
So right
I
now
don't do
we're gonna
phone
deal with
calls.
this.
I pull up. I be, hey Chief, let me talk to you for a minute. Come here, let me holler
Let me
at you.
holler at you. Let me get at you.
I'm the pull up. I ain't the phone call. I'm the pull up. I don't want that. I need to look. Do I gotta put my glasses on to talk to you? Yeah, I'm pull up. I'm pulling up. And we gonna talk about it. I'm gonna pull you to the, hey, come here. I need to holler at you for a second. That's me. and, um, and I was going to do that. And so it got to HR, and HR called me to have a conversation with me and to further tell me that I don't think she meant it like that. I think she was just saying third shift. And that was the first time that I had to ask that we introduce like some type of cultural training classes.
Right.
I said,
Diversity.
because I said, let me tell you something. I said, I don't care if she meant third shift or not. Don't do that. Don't say that to me. And I said, and the next time you might not catch me in that type of mood. And she'd have been picking up all her teeth off the floor.
And that's the part I don't think
or
that.
what if she or what if she wasn't talking to me? And here's the thing, like I would not have hit her. However, if she say that to somebody else, I can't say that that's the narrative for someone else. I have told my children the same thing. Hey, watch how you talk to people,
You
because
have to.
sometimes what you say to people might get your ass knocked out. I'm just trying to tell you something.
And I think that people, and you're right. I think that when you raised in the Black neighborhood, a Black family, you are taught, hey, one fight, you all fight. And my parents said, you are not, my grandma said, it's not what they call you, it's what you answer to. Now, my dad, on the other hand, had a whole different philosophy. They call you the N-word, it's got to go down, And that's just what, and I remember in school, in elementary, I was called the N-word. I mean, I was, and I got into a couple of fights because you cannot, when you put a Black child into a white school and you have some kids who aren't, they learn what's happening in their home. And she thought it was okay, no. And then, no, and don't touch my hair, And so when you have that, I've been called the N-word. And in my life as in elementary and in my adult life. Now, those don't go very well in either one. Definitely not in my adult life. You cannot do that. You cannot call I don't call Black women bees. I don't be kiki and ha-ha with my friends and myself. Hey, bee. I don't do that because it's a derogatory term that's meant to it's a negative term towards Black women. I don't have that in my vocabulary. I don't call anybody the N-word, and I'm Black. I don't be like, what's up? I don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't do that. And people will laugh, like I do swear, but I don't use the word GD. And I would tell people,
child, I swear,
I'll be like, look, don't say that. You trying to make it to heaven, and they'll be like, they'll be like, you always sin. And I say it to everybody. So there are some things, yes, I do, but some things I don't. I don't use God's name in vain. And my thing is, if you want respect,
I cuss a lot, Tanya. Pray for me. Pray for me. I cuss a lot.
Listen, Satara, I swear too. And listen, this is the funny part. When my kids were like, my daughter slipped. She's like, the first time she cussed, everybody blames it on their mom. Well, mom, we get cussing from mom. I'm like, what you mean you get it from mom? I'm not even there. But you have to make sure that you can. My kids never swear around. They're very respectful. Thank God. Because like I tell them, I'm not your, I'm two of their friend now because they're good and grown and can buy their own toilet paper. I'm like, you're good and grown, you can buy your own toilet paper. And now they're like, you didn't want to be friends. We're not your friend. I'm like, oh, don't say that now. But I think that
I always told them, now we can be friends because I can tell you, okay, I'm tired of you. Go where you pay rent at.
Or where you pay your mortgage at. Exactly.
No,
where your bills at. Exactly. So I think the cultural differences that we have to look at, and we look at a lot of mixed families now. There are a lot, so people have to really get past. Everybody's got someone in their family that is married to someone of a different race. If it be a Black, Middle Eastern, Asian, everybody got one, or Hispanic. So, we have to learn, like I say, have the uncomfortable conversations. We have to have them and get past our cultural differences and biases.
So my reason in bringing that up, about cultural differences and things like that, my reason in bringing that up is because that's the world that we live in right now. And we really need to be cognizant of that. And even on city council, right? Because it's mixed cultures there as well. And I think we need to be cognizant of that. And I think we need to make sure that we have those conversations, and we need to have them constructively and respectfully, right?
You're correct. I want to make one correct. And I look like I saw she don't want the support. I don't know about that what she wrote because I talked to her. I do want to make the point that Dr. Liddell Lewis, we brought up the Black women, the
Hi, Dr. Liddell
Women's
Lewis.
March.
Hey, girl.
Yep.
Hey.
And I do want to make sure she did write that, and she did collectively bring everyone together. Dr. Lewis Liddell wrote, she wrote the resolution and she wrote the letter.
Oh yes, and the letter. Yes. I'm sorry, I did leave out the letter, but yes, I did quite enjoy them both. Uh-oh, Mick, I think her phone might have went dead. So,
Froze up.
Yeah, she might have froze up, or maybe her phone went dead because I see her the light that she had on went out. But you know what? We'll just keep talking until she gets back. So far, Mick,
Yeah,
what
she
you
just
think?
dropped off. I
Okay,
like
so
the
far, Mick,
interview.
what you
You know what? Oh, let me cut this off because I was listening on my earbud. You know what? At first, I was being kind of biased, but she has won me over.
see?
I'm not gonna
It's
lie.
nice
She,
to have these get to know you sessions, right?
because I did think they was being hard on Eric, but I'm not gonna lie. She didn't want me over far as on who she is, not as the council. I like to get to know Tanya, not the council
Yeah.
person. That's what I did like. All the Dale Lewis too. You won me over too. I ain't gonna even know I just be poking at you. You know what I'm saying? I just be poking, but I'm not gonna say I'm not like, hey, when y'all come on and we do the interviews, I'll be I'll be coming in biased. But then when y'all go to talking, I'm like, damn, they good people. You know what I'm saying? At the end, I'll be like, at the end of the day, I'll be all they good people.
So Tanya, so she just messaged me and said that her phone battery died. So
okay,
her
no
battery died.
problem.
So I figured that's what it was.
Yeah.
So yeah. Lady Liddell, we had a great conversation too, right? And I think you won a lot of people over with your conversation when we had our conversation as well, Liddell. So again, I was happy that you had come on to talk to us as well. So and I appreciate you right here, right now, watching us and in the chat. I appreciate you very much. I want to say hello to everybody else. I want to say hello to Miss Kathleen, because I see you say hello to Art, and some other people that say hello, Becky Brown. Hey y'all, hey, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you so much. I know we kind of got, it wasn't short because we've been on here for a while, but we kind of got cut because her battery died. No worries, we'll have to come back again and do it again. Ooh, Liddell, maybe all three of us can get together and we can do it, like she said, maybe over food and a glass of wine or something. Maybe we can put that together and we can come together and have some more conversation, some more get to know you conversations or whatever. I think that would be pretty dope. Oh, Tanya says she back up, so she might be back in, Mick. So
Okay, as soon as she come in, I'm gonna bring her on.
Yep. Okay.
I'll bring her on.
Hold on, let me tell her she can come back in. Okay. I'm telling her she can come back in. But yeah, I think that would be great. So we're gonna have to put that together, Liddell, and we do that. Mick, you down?
She said, "Why not?" I'm gonna sit back and let y'all and do y'all thing. You know how I like to sit back and
Yeah,
just
no,
watch.
that's what I'm saying. You down with filming us? Oh,
Come
she
on
said she
now.
can see you. Is she back in?
I ain't seen her yet. It'll say it'll say it'll let me know when she coming in. Yeah, no, she can. Tell her she might need to hit that hit her search bar where it got the lock on there. Will it open up her what's the name for? You know how they be playing with the Android. They some Android haters. Oh, come on now, man. I don't mind bringing y'all to the people. I do that with no problem. I can't wait till I can do y'all live though. That's what I'm really
We
banking
can.
on.
Y'all want to come? Yeah. You know what, Liddell? Y'all can come over. We can make something. We can order out whatever. I can cook something or whatever. Y'all can come over. We can do it right here if you like. we could discuss that. We'll get together and we'll discuss.
Yeah,
But yeah. How did you guys enjoy the show? What do you guys think of Miss Tanya Burns? She was pretty dope, huh? I think she was.
oh, there
I
she
think she
go.
was pretty. Oh, there we go.
She back
Hey,
though.
Hey, you back. So
hey,
I was just talking to Liddell and I said, you know what? Maybe all three of us can get together and we can have some lady conversation over food,
yes,
a glass of wine. I think we should do it.
I'm down for that.
Perfect. She said she was down too. I feel like we should do it. So we need to synchronize our watches and plan a day and we can do it. I can cook something up. I'm actually a pretty good cook. Or we can order something. We can do whatever.
Let's order. Let's take
She said,
the work.
she said her battery is as bad as mine. Liddell said your battery is bad as hers.
Her battery always die, and she be taking Jack phone. Jack be wanting his phone. I want to say she did write the resolution. She contacted everyone to make sure everyone got together for Women's Month, and that was an issue because that's her strength. She's a writer. She's a journalist. She does that, and so she did get everyone together for that honoring Women's Month. I wish she had been here to present it because that was her baby. But she had her colleagues who helped to make sure it was spoken, it was put on the record, and we kept it moving.
Yeah, that was pretty. It was pretty dope. I must say. So I did enjoy that. I didn't leave before that, so I felt like how the preachers say, don't leave before the benediction. I felt like that was the benediction. I could leave
order
after that.
offering. Don't leave for the offering.
Don't leave before the offering. Yeah. So I felt like I could leave after that. I felt like I got the benediction and I could leave after that. So yeah.
I do know her and I had talked about and when we talk about Women's Month, and one of the things I don't like for like my seat on council to be political necessarily, but I do feel we do need to honor Dr. Mayor Karen Weaver because she was the first female Black woman to be the mayor of the city of Flint. And that was huge, not only being the first woman, but being the first Black woman to be, the head of a city. And that's something that her and I talked about, still making sure that is honored.
How do you feel about her running again?
Well, I'm excited and I support her. I've been very open about that.
That's
and
awesome.
I think that when Flint politics can be some of the dirtiest politics.
Maybe.
And lies run rampant. I believe she should be afforded and given the opportunity to finish what she started. I would like to see, her vision come to fruition. And, we have to look at, the Mahindra deal probably would have been closed underneath her leadership. We don't know what happened to it under this current leadership other than it died. We look at, the things that, happen. And like I say, her and I, our first real talk, we talked over 8 hours, a little over 8.
Yeah.
It was over food too.
Yeah.
And we talked about a lot of things. And I would like to see her finish what she started, finish her race. I would.
I think that because of all of the rumors and the lies and all of these things that came up, I think listen, I'm telling y'all, I think she coming back with a bang, man. I'm telling you, she finna go harder to paint, and because she has something to prove right now, right? She
really is, and she's focused. She's very focused. And there were a lot, and her and I filtered through the lies, and there were a lot. So when you're giving bad information, and bad information was dressed up in a really good package, and that's why I got fired every day, because I was not willing to perpetrate a lie. I wouldn't do it, and I did not do it. And
I'm really happy and glad to hear that you are. And I heard this from when you were speaking with Art when he was talking. And I was really happy and glad to see that you all had got a chance to speak as women, and to hash that out and to get it to where now that you all can come together and be able to talk to each other in that and put all of those differences aside, talk it out and get it worked out. So
And
I was
we did.
very, very happy to hear that. Very,
And we're
very,
very
very
good
happy.
friends, and it was not an easy hash out. There's different sides when you see, she was coming at me and I had questions for her. But what we did was say, okay, what do we do to put Flint together? And that's really where that bond came. Okay, well, what do we do to move Flint together? You know, what do we do? Because she does have a love for Flint. I was able to give her information, and to sift, because I had seen both sides. So when you say, well, how do we move it together? I like she's progressive. I like what she's saying she's going to do. And we have to look at what she was doing got muddied by people who wanted her out. And the first term mayor, you really implement more in your second term. But she did so much. She's like, I didn't have time. She's like, Tanya, I had a water crisis and she has so much going after her. Now, I don't know. I keep asking the question, how many service lines have we had changed since January 2020? And how many have been excavated? They still can't answer that. We do know it was ahead of schedule with her. We do know that. I also know that with W.T. Stevens, which they were, they tried to, well, they wasn't qualified. No, and it was sad that I was asked that by Councilwoman Even Worthy. She did a point of information and said, well, you do know they're not qualified. No, what I do know is you're perpetrating a lie, because not only are they qualified, they're insured, and they have did many of the excavations. What I do know, they are being excluded because it's political. And this is the only Black company that's being excluded. They're only Black company, period. So when we talk that rubbed me every wrong way it could have.
As it should have.
Because they keep giving them hurdles. And I'm looking at these hurdles, and I look at, we do Black Money Matters, me and Mayor Weaver and Jamaica Patrick. And we did it with the families, with some of the young Black men who finally had an opportunity to get a job with a great earning wage, working at W.T. Stevens. There was a pride in them. And I worked in the mayor's office, had one office right next to his, and the other one was over in the South building. And he said he would make sure that they would not get business. That contract sat on that shelf. He deliberately kept that from them. Now, you ain't heard nobody say, because I've been consistent and no one has said Tanya Burns is lying. And so put me on a lie detector test.
Yeah.
Because it's the truth. When you made sure that they did not get money. So you put these families and they lived in Flint. These Black men lived in Flint, earning a good wage. How dare you, is in a predominantly Black city, is a Black mayor, do this to a company and to the men and their wives and to their children?
Absolutely.
And then say, I want to move this city forward. How can you do that when you're taking food out their mouths?
Right.
Because of a political. You don't have to agree with W.T. Stevens, but how dare you not? And we still owe them money. City owes them almost $1 million.
I'm glad you said that, because and why won't they pay him?
Well, it's political. You gotta pose that to the mayor. You have to ask him. That question has to be put, because
he don't want to talk to me. Every time he see me, we kind of cornered him. Me and Darius kind of cornered him one time. He ain't fooling with me.
Everyone's running now, so everyone's got a little political angle. But that's a question that the public has got to ask him. And they do, because at this point, and I want to know where the money coming from. How are we gonna pay him? Yeah. But when we look at that, but getting back to Mayor Weaver, I want her to finish what she started. She was not given a just or fair deal. Yeah. And the lies came from all the way from the top on down on people who were lying on her. And her and I, we went through everything. And I have been openly saying, I am supporting her. I'm supporting her. I spoke at her announcement that she had. And I want to see her do great things. And I like that she's surrounding herself with positive, people and positive, women. And, she's listening to, new people, new ideas, and how to move the city forward. And that's what we need. Other people see her talent when she was hired to be the interim director for the African American Mayors Association. And she did a lot of travel, but there's work that's just not finished here. Let's let her finish her work. And we need to make sure we're supporting her. And I am supporting her. Doesn't mean I'm going to be disrespectful to the current administration, because it's my job to make sure we still handle the business of the city. That's why my seat is not political, and it's to make sure we're getting the business of the people done. The residents is what matters to me. The quality of
Absolutely.
life that we don't have, because our
Yeah.
service lines, we can't find out if they're still being fixed. So
Yeah.
yeah, and let me say, yes, I am supporting her, and I am supporting her in her win and for her bid for mayor.
That's awesome. I got to meet her and talk to her for a little while, and she's a very nice lady, very smart lady, but very down to earth lady. I want people to know that she's very down to earth, very helping. And I actually invited her to come on and talk to me and have a conversation. I mean, it would. I mean, I guess we would definitely talk about some political things, but I kind of wanted to have a
Mhm.
conversation just like this. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of open, like, hey, who is Dr. Karen Weave? Like, I just wanted to have that conversation because oftentimes, just the same with you and same with Liddell. Oftentimes, people just get to see like what they think of as the political part and hear what other people say, and they don't have a chance to hear like what you all have to say, just as it relates to like the city, yourself, or just things in general. So um I would love to have that conversation with her. So hopefully that she's open to that, and she would and just come and just just kick it, just have a good time. Maybe she'll come have dinner with us when
You
you and
know, sir,
Liddell
I got this dinner thing that I've been trying. I've had to reschedule 2 or 3 times,
go.
and it's just like a round table of different group of people, because I want to have. We got to look at different. I don't want. We're not all alike, so we got to see when we talk
Absolutely.
about the uncomfortable conversations, and we got to
Mhm.
have them. And you would be surprised with over food and dinner and wine or whatever. What it is that we all have in common. And
Yeah.
I've had to redo this dinner, I think maybe 3 times now, because it's been a scheduling issue. But I think she may do that. Did you reach out to her?
I did.
Okay.
I
Then
did.
let's then over this dinner thing, then or whatever. And her and I talk. I will see. I will see. And
Okay.
I think that in this climate, um, I think for a lot of people, on the platform, I like to say I'm not running for nothing. Nothing.
Hmm.
If I had all the dogs, I wouldn't run for dog catcher. For me, it's because the race is hard. And I think people
Yeah.
are cautious with, the media groups that they go into, because I mean, it's a lot of get you groups out here.
As they should be. But here's
Yeah.
here's my stance and what I always say. I'm Switzerland.
You say
I'm
you
absolutely
Switzerland?
Switzerland. I'm Switzerland. I'm Switzerland. I'm not for or against anybody because I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't even live in the city, so I can't vote for anybody, right? So so for me, it's just it's to do this for me
Right.
and my platform and how I do it. It's for me is this because I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't live in the city of Flint anymore. Not saying
Hmm.
that I wouldn't if things got back right because I asked that at the ARPA Funds meeting, like, hey, what y'all gonna do to get me back in the city?
Well, and
You
I'm gonna tell you something. I look at other communities where, let's say, the South Side of Chicago,
Mhm.
where they start tearing down and moving people out. They tore down Cabrini Green. Then they start building $2 million condos. People better
Mhm.
be stay woke. You better look and see all these
I'm
apartment
telling
buildings,
you,
right, where the rent is 1,400 starting at. That's more than a mortgage for a house in the city of Flint.
absolutely,
So stay
absolutely.
woke. What's being torn down? What's being built up? Built up. You have to pay attention. I mean, you got to make sure that you are a part of the master plan, because
Absolutely.
right now I'm not seeing a lot of that for I'm just not. But I'm looking at how things are going, and it's moving forward. But we look at and I'm not speaking with you. When you have a love for Flint, and then you doing the work in Flint, or is people only have, I like your platform because it's just open
Thank you.
dialogue. But
Thank you.
when people are only critical of what things are happening and not positive, you say, hey, I came into city council, come into change. It's a different vibe in there as
It
opposed to over
is.
the phone and as opposed to over YouTube.
It
It's
is.
different. It's different. And we have to, if you want to make change, get involved. And in order for
Absolutely.
Beach or Mount Morris to survive. Flint is like the hub, the major city. Flint needs to
Absolutely.
survive. So if Flint is doing good, that means your other out counties are going to do good too. So there is a method to that. And that's the part people,
Absolutely.
they have to understand. But I don't want businesses that we talked about to come here and they get stagnated in city council. Them losing that $40,000, $50,000 but buying security federal credit union, that should have never happened. That's a shame. And I'm embarrassed that that happened because it
Yeah.
shouldn't have got caught up in that. Because guess
Yeah.
what, people, when we talk, oh, the business, we had the GM plant that left. We look at where businesses go to Burton, they go to Grand Blanc, they go to Fenton. We got to look at whose interest are we protecting, and what are we doing to
Absolutely.
make sure business comes, that it benefits the north side of town. They're not getting anything. Well, not
Mhm.
right now, as I believe they said, not for 10 years, but they're buying up property on the north side, dirt cheap. And there's a company, it's called Outliners by June Chin, buying up just blocks, lives in Troy, another one lives in Bloomfield Hills. So you got to look at who's buying up our property. And in Chicago, a lot of these companies were being bought up over from Japan, over from Canada, buying up property here.
Mm.
They did that. They did that over in Illinois. So we have to look at that.
Wow. Yeah. I agree. I think that if you do live in the city of Flint and you own some property in the city of Flint, hold steadfast and unmovable, right? Just
Right.
hold on to it. Seriously.
And depending on where it's located at too.
Yeah.
Um, you have to pay attention. And the thing, a lot of the programs in the city of Flint, people don't even know how to save their homes. There's the MISTA program with MIS HDA, then it's .gov / MIHAF, which they will pay up to $25,000 of your back taxes. Then there's the G card program, and Councilwoman Allie Herkenroder is working on the Catholic Charities. So these are programs like I've been speaking with her about, because we need to make sure we keep in the resident. You didn't endure the water crisis. Dang it, your house shit. We need to make sure you stay in here. We done
I'm
poison
telling
your
you.
kids. We done mess with the education system. We done devalued your properties to where they're almost less than zero. Let's help these people who are here stay here. So I'm making a
Yeah.
point of talking to them. And then I have asked her to help me with people, because people are like, I can't afford my home. I can't afford to pay my water bill. I can't afford to pay my taxes. These are very real issues for a lot of people. And then go through a hardship like I did. A lot of these people won't make it out. I
I
will
swear.
make it out of mine,
I
but
know that's
they
right.
won't make it out. And there's no hope for some of them. And it affects their mental health. It affects, where am I going to go live? You can't afford to live in Clark Commons. Or which Clark Commons used to be Atherton East, which was they called the projects, and it was illegally built and rebuilt because it was sued. So the money was given by the federal government. It should have never been built there. But them putting Black people in one area, but they were giving white people money to get a single family home, and they put us in units and apartments. So that they lost that lawsuit. But when we talk about I want to make sure we're keeping people in their homes. I ride around my neighborhood all the time. And yesterday I went by, I had like a list, the last current list that they gave my residents who give me. Every house I went to that looked bad and had trash was a land bank house. Every single one. Every single
Thank you for
home.
saying that. Let's talk
And
about that.
and I took pictures of it, and I'm going to send them to Michael Freeman, and I'm going to go to the county and start speaking about them. But I look at these homes, that I'm like, this got a fireplace. This house has got this. At some point, these were nice homes, but we're letting the homes become dilapidated because they're sitting just sitting empty. And that to me is
So what do we do? So what do we do? What do we do, Tanya? Because
we
I
need
know
to.
that I've heard a million people say that they have tried to get a house from Land Bank and they had to do everything but give up their firstborn child and they still didn't get it. Or if they got it, the house was, some of the things that they said was wrong with the house was way more extensive than what they said, and they came out of way more money, or they weren't able to get it done because it was so much money and those things weren't being disclosed. What can we do to do that? Because I'm telling you right now, I mean, like, I don't make a whole lot of money, but I make good money, right? And I would
Mm-hmm.
love to buy a house in Flint. I would love to buy
Mm-hmm.
several houses in Flint if that's the case, because I would like to have another home that I had, I had given to my children, and I have 4 children, as a matter of fact. And I would like to be able to start them all out, right? And I would love to do that. I can't buy no land bank house, and then I gotta put $70,000 in it after you know what I'm saying? Like,
They
what do
are
we
they're
do?
yeah, they're often stripped. The furnace is gone, your plumbing is gone. Even this little house that I'm in, I had originally bought for my daughter, and now I've been in it. And like I said, brought me back because I got sick, and then my parents both got sick. My dad had a heart attack, my mother had 4 strokes. So I'm not
Oh
going
my,
anywhere. And
yeah.
I'm blessed still they are still alive. But
Well, I'm
when I
thankful for
bought
that.
this house for her, I paid cash for it. And then I had to turn around and put like 32,000 into it. So
Yeah,
there is no mortgage, that's
yeah,
on the home. So the only
yeah.
thing, I'll answer that for Winters. So
Okay.
if I had a mortgage and I went through a hardship, I would have a hard time. Flint's water is so high that it's and the taxes is high. It's high. So how do we do it? This is where we need to have a group, and until we all come together, that's where we start to talk as a group, like-minded people, and then we
Hmm.
take our like-minded ideas, we become consistent with them, and we go to the county, and then we
Okay.
start writing to our congressman and to our senator, and we stay on them, because we should not be losing at this rate as many houses. Every block has got, I'm gonna say just about every block on from Ballinger. I'm even going to say on the other side, say from where it's Wabash and El Dorado Drive,
Hmm.
we got vacant homes, which are owned
Hmm.
by and lots. This is, and we did have a huge population loss, but we keep building apartments, and somebody got to live in them apartments. Let's make home ownership affordable. If I didn't have the money to, like you say, all the things that need to be done, I gutted this house, inside and out, redid the basement. And when I bought it, because I told her she was going to U of M Flint, and I was paying $900 a month for her to stay at the old Hyatt, whatever those, uh and I'm like, girl, I can get you a house, and I
Right.
got, and I got her 2 roommates too at the time. So
Right.
that it paid for itself. But and I got her a lawnmower and a shovel, because you a
Yeah.
homeowner. You need to mow the lawn and shovel your snow. And
Yeah.
so we
Absolutely.
have to put that in our kids, that you to be a homeowner. But there are programs and monies to rehab these homes. That's why all of our resources, they need to be centralized. No one knows when you call and ask, well, how do I get help for something? They really don't know. People don't know. So
So,
we have to, is the residents, and I'm counting you as a resident, because or people who are concerned, we have to work together. Let's find what our commonalities that we have in life to help people, because voices matter. When we sit back and talk about it, don't do nothing about it, they be like, ooh, they can get their stuff there. They don't even care. We have to come together to make them do something.
so Tanya, what do we do? What can we do? Can we get that together? Let's do it. Can we
We
do it?
can.
I'll be
Yep.
more than happy to help you do that.
Okay, because we can meet, and what you and I will do, because we can meet at City Hall. We can get one of the rooms, and we can start out with a meeting, like-minded people, because this is our community, and our voice. I'm gonna tell you something. You go to these communities where white people live. Oh, they tell them people what they're gonna do, and
Yeah.
they all show up and they fill it up and they stay consistent. Just like they didn't get the Ajax plant built in Farmington Hills.
Yeah.
Why? Because they showed up and they were consistent, and they're active in their community. Your voice
Yeah.
matters. So you and I will get to working on this. And every Wednesday at the county, 9 o'clock a.m., they have the county commissioners meeting. We need to speak, because we
Okay.
need to let them know, because we elected them. Why are they not speaking out to make sure there's programs? So we have to
Okay.
hold them accountable. Don't nobody want the people in there all the time. That this is a demographic that's disenfranchised. We have to make them be held accountable.
Okay.
We elected them, And we need
I'm
to, and they
not.
elected me, and I have to be held accountable. So you and I will kick this out. We'll have an open invitation for
Let's do
dialogue.
it.
Well, okay, then it's gonna be done. And we are two
I'm
like
ready to do it.
minds in
I'm gonna make
agreement.
sure that matter of fact, I'm gonna do it right now. Y'all see me on camera. I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna make sure I send you. I'm about to send you my phone number so we can keep it. And I'm willing to. I'm definitely willing to do that. I would like to see it. And I know people probably talk a lot and they say a lot of things about me because I don't live in the city of Flint, but I love Flint. I did live in the city. I'm not saying that I didn't live in the city. I don't currently live there, but I did live in the city. My family lived in the city. My grandmother lived at 752 East Baltimore until the day she passed away. My grandparents lived there. So, I was always in the city. My family's still there, So it's not that I don't. I do. I love the city.
Yeah, but if you're in Mount Morris, that's really considered the city. I
I'm in the city.
went to Riley Elementary.
Did you?
I did. And I think Zink and pre-K, because we lived on Verdun Street, was actually a dirt road. It was a dirt
you was
road.
in Dirtsville. Okay.
Yeah, I was in Dirtville. And every time my grandmama would leave, it was snowing, she back into the ditch. I don't know why. In her to save her, but that's what she did. So I mean, that's where and that's where Michelle, I don't know, do you know Michelle Young?
I do
She
not.
works at GM. Her and I, we lived one house in between us, so we were best friends since pre-K. So when we talk about, that's considered like Flint. But the thing is, you just have to have a passion for the community. You have to be here, but let's work together respectfully to move it forward, because we need everyone's voice. I mean, and if you got a tie from Flint, a connection, or your mom, your aunt, or uncle, let's use it in a positive way to make a difference instead of using it negative on social media. Let's do something positive.
Wholeheartedly agree.
We have, because there's so much to be gained. I would rather be a part of a good process that we can see families moving in, our school system being improved, new schools being built, crime going down, than for me to be on bashing it. Let's work together to change it, to make it better. Because that's what other communities do. They'll tell you, we're not accepting this, and they mean it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, if they hadn't seen how other communities come together for anything, y'all think about the mask. And when they said unmask our children, that means you're going to take these masks off our kids. Oh, they meant that. They didn't ask. Oh, no, they said, this is what you're going to do. And that's what they did.
And that's what they did.
That's what they did. They did. That's what they did. So we do. And I say that all the time. We have to stop accepting the crumbs that fall on the floor when the loaf of bread is sitting at the table, and we need to get that loaf of bread, and we need to have a seat at the table. So if you got to push somebody down or scoot them over to get a seat at the table, that's exactly what we need to do.
When it comes to housing, you might have to knock them off a building. This is going to call for extreme, because I'm watching how they're buying up land, and they're buying it up in groups, and they aren't even here. They're buying it, and I've seen them do it. They will have an interest for someone who doesn't even live in the country. They don't even live in the country. Yeah. So we giving them our property. Land bank needs to have a better ownership program. Now they rehab houses. Are they rehabbing homes? And I need to learn more about their program. Are they rehabbing homes? If they sell a home, can they rehab it for a family to move in, and the family pay them through their mortgage? So I think we need to look at how do we do things, and it starts with activism. Getting active in your community.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm actually excited about that. I'm excited about doing that work with you. I am very, very excited.
Us in the community, because we gotta Bogart up in there and get our platform and stick to it. And it's
absolutely.
And we got to look at Flint's housing crisis. They had a shortage before. Now it's just a mess, and there's a shortage. There's a shortage now, but we got all these vacant homes, which people like from out there like, Tanya, who's not buying these properties? You can buy up a block. You could have, but like I said, these homes have a lot of problems. So I think as we talk in numbers, it makes a difference, and we got to be in it for the long haul, and we're gonna have ups and we're gonna have downs. But we got to be in it for the long haul.
Definitely.
What I love about Flint got a park in every neighborhood, at least one.
Absolutely.
every single one.
Yes.
And we need to be
It's
utilizing
not
that.
too far from anywhere.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Within walking distance. And we need to make sure, the homes are there. We need to get families in those homes. Because right now, and I'm telling you, you can go on, they buying up the homes. They buying them up. And I don't even have the name right next to me. But this one company, I'm watching how many homes that they have bought up. And if it's a home up, they're buying it. So we have to be conscious, in our community.
You know what else I think? You know what else I think? I think that even we need to think about, just like in general, just like a bunch of people getting together and pooling their money together and buy houses, like you say, and buy up a block. We need to start thinking about that and doing that we need to start doing that as a group, because I might got a little bit of money. You might have a lot more money than me, but you don't have all the money.
I'm trying to make a comeback.
Absolutely. But you know what I'm saying? And you might have
absolutely.
But I do
know people who will invest
together, and we buy up a block and we work on it, right? And we get it together.
I do know people who will invest.
Absolutely. I'd definitely be willing to do that.
And we can start out of this first meeting, getting our ideas and getting our structure and what is our common goal and mission. And see, this is like when we talk about having, the conversations, this is what comes out of good conversation.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think that's what I love about why I continue to do this, because when I started this is so funny, because when I started it, I wasn't doing the podcast by myself and I wasn't doing it. And I was just like, Mickey can tell you this. I was like, man, I don't like this. It's so political and I am not that. And damn this, I'm like, this is bullshit. I don't like this. And so he was like, you know what? And people kept saying, well, you need to do your own. You need to do your own. Wow. And I didn't take it seriously until it just kept coming. It kept coming. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I will. And I told Mickey, I said, I want it to be open. I am Switzerland. I am Switzerland. And I'm standing on that. I'm Switzerland. So there are some things that I agree with on your side. There's some things that I don't agree with. But at the end of the day, I just want to have a respectful conversation about it. And then we both walk away with something, right? Whether it be we agree to disagree, or you end up being on my end, or they be, or whatever the case may be. But I just wanted the dialogue to be open. I just don't want it to be the heavy all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's the thing with politics. It's always the heavy. And I don't like that. I don't do that all day at work. God damn that. I don't want to do that. I just want to have these type of conversations, right? Because like you said, these are the conversations where the ideas come up. Or you can say, let's work together and do that. I'm just saying. I hope that when people watch this, and if they're watching this, that this is what they get out of it, and that's what they see out of this. Because I'm not here to like bash a whole bunch of people, whatever. I do have my days, but it's not the person; it's what they're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Right, their actions.
It's absolutely that. It's not you as a person. It's just your work and what you're doing, right? And if you're not doing what you say you're doing, then hell yeah, I'm gonna call you out on it. I'm gonna say that, right?
But and I think, and it's okay to do that, because I mean, sometimes you can get so busy in something you don't even see what you're doing, and somebody will pull your coattail. Your community holding you accountable, and they're supposed to. And if you ever meet a person who is never wrong, that's a person got a whole bunch of issues, because everybody is going to be wrong at some point. Like I said, I am not striving to be perfect. I'm gonna fall short a lot. But my intentions are always good.
I have a tattoo on my arm that says "perfectly imperfect," because I
love that.
I am never ever going. I don't even want to be perfect. I don't even want to meet anybody that's perfect, because I am so quirky and everything else, and I know that. And I just feel like, for me, I am perfectly imperfect, right? And I'm not striving to be perfect. I'm just striving to be better than I was yesterday. That's
exactly. But I enjoyed this.
I so enjoyed this. I am so happy that I really got to have this conversation with you and got to meet you and talk to you. I so look forward to our agenda that we have going. And
I'm gonna put it in my phone now.
Yes. And because I also look forward to to us having a dinner. You are in Liddell, and hopefully
Is Liddell still
former
on
Mayor
here?
Karen Weaver can
Is,
come. You know
is
what I'm
she still?
saying?
I don't know if she's still on here, but yeah, I'm gonna probably have it at Twan's house because I don't have a formal dining room here.
Okay.
So my house, this
Yeah.
little house is itty bitty. So I
Yeah.
need. So I have to borrow someone else's house.
Understood. Understood.
So
So, with that being said, do you have any parting words for us and the constituents and whomever is watching or whoever will be watching? You know, because folks watch that don't watch. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, and they'll go right, and they'll go back. I just think that for me, we have to give people a chance. This is a new council. If you're religious, pray for us. Always pray for us. Before I get
Mhm.
in my car and drive, I pray.
I know
But
that's
I think that the biggest thing is people have to get involved. Get involved and get involved in a positive way to where you're looking for a positive result because it's
Mhm.
about the residents and get involved to where you want to make a change. Um, I do. I'm gonna put a pin in that right
Judy
quick.
Priestley is on here. Judy Priestley. Hey, girl. Hey. Can we do this? I would love to do this with you,
we
Judy.
we can. I do want to answer Winter's question. She
Oh, yes,
asked, do
please.
we have an economic development department? We do have Samantha Fountain, and then there's a guy, I forget his last name, Bailey, and there's supposed to be, I believe, another person. Um, how they're working, Winters, I honestly don't know. I don't even know what they're working on. Um, I really don't. I know they're funded underneath the Kellogg grant, which is the grant that underneath Mayor Karen Weaver, we got the 3.9 million for the Kellogg grant, which is the first time it had ever been given to Flint or even a city this size, which was to help build capacity and so that Flint could have an interest dealing with. We could have our own representation for economic development as opposed to having the chamber or the county representing our interests. So that needs to be looked at because Flint needs its own, its real interest. And right now, I'm not satisfied with what I'm seeing at all. I'm just
Mm.
not knowing,
Okay.
when I worked in economic development and I know where we left off at, we did a study. The study cost the city, it was $40,000. Nothing was done with that. Nothing.
Mm.
So there's something wasteful of money. We have to stop that. There were some great
Okay.
things that Jim Durian and I were working on, and those things were not implicated. Matter of fact, I don't even think they had anybody who knew how to run the programs that Jim Durian was doing that we were working on.
Mm. Mhm.
So, but getting back to closing words, it's all of us. And I'm going to use from Quincy Murphy, Councilman Murphy's thing. We have to have a shared space. I don't want anyone to be judged on any one thing that they do because, like I said, we all
Absolutely
gonna
not.
make mistakes. But let's look for the better part of them and for all of us to be better together. Because I'm gonna make mistakes. I am. I try to keep my cool as much as possible.
Mhm.
That's just me. But for me, the biggest thing is that I want my community to be better. I truly do because I lived, I was a 60s baby, grew up in the 70s. So we had real schools, real things to do,
Mhm.
and, you could have a summer job if you wanted one, for kids, and teenagers. I want to be able to walk out my door and go for a walk, Satara. That to me,
Absolutely.
I'm tired of all these stray dogs running around here, that
Yes.
you might get bit or you might get ran over by a car because of the speeding. So enforcement for police for that, for me, I get your part, but I want to be able to cross
Absolutely.
the street without somebody speeding, you know,
Absolutely.
and doing the donuts in the street or the slide and the side tricks, which I am working on a resolution, writing one actually with Chief Green with that, so to make some things set because kids used to ride their bikes in the street. I don't want anybody child riding a bike in any of these streets now. We rode our bikes in the street. We raced in the street. We was on our skateboards in the street. I mean, you
Absolutely.
played in the street. I mean, there is
Yeah.
no Flint gets no respect. And we have to
Mhm.
bring that back. But it
Yeah.
begins at the top with leadership. The
Absolutely.
leadership matters. And if we have to change some things, we have to change some things because I'm not
Understood.
willing to move forward with all this disrespect and lawlessness and not doing it.
Absolutely.
It's more than us because there's children. As I'm preparing to get my job is not to be in this position forever. I need to leave it a better place than once I received it. And that is my goal.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. Hey, and Judy Priestley says she's not. She said she's not as good as you, Miss Judy. I don't believe that at all. Like I said, we are all perfectly imperfect. We are our own version of perfect. But I would definitely love to have this dialogue with you. Have this space is open for you when you're available. The door is always open. But I would love to get to know you as well and do this because I don't know much about you as well. I would love to. I've said it several times. Like I don't know who she is. I don't know much about her. So I would love to.
Judy's very nice. She cans, but she's supposed to teach me how to can because I don't know how. And
let's do that. We can talk about it over canning. Let's do it.
I need a pressure cooker or something. She loves her dogs. She shows her dogs. So I mean, when we talk to people to find common, ground and bond. I have a rescue dog who got a bullet in him, but I didn't shoot him. By the way, he came to me or us with one. So she shows dogs. But I think that'll be a good conversation so that people can get to know her on your show from a different perspective.
I would love
that. I think that would be good. I hope Judy does it.
So Judy, if you are open to it, hit me in my inbox or you can call me. Tanya has my number. You can call me and we can set something up and let's do it. I think we should have that. I would love for people to get to know you and I would love to get to know you. So let's try to do that. I hope that you would be open to do that. Yeah.
I hope she's open to it also.
Yeah. So again, I appreciate you so much for coming on and talking to me. And I so enjoy getting to know you and having this talk with you.
Oh, no, we got work to do. Listen, I didn't put it in my phone because we need the people on here with the community that we're going to work together to make effective change. Okay?
Absolutely. I am with it.
We got our work to do. We got our work to do. So
Judy Priestley said, okay, so I'm gonna hold you to that, Miss Judy. Don't make me show up that council. Don't make me show up the council and write on it that I want to talk and we set our appointment up there. I'm gonna use my 3 minutes for that. I'm just joking.
I think you will enjoy your conversation with her because Judy will talk about she was a wildcat. She went to Northwestern. So
we definitely got to talk then.
Yeah. Got to talk.
All right. I look forward to it. I so appreciate you again. Thank you so much. I thank you all for joining in. I want you all to take some time out for your mental health. If you have to sit back and recharge and reset and not talk to anybody for a minute, then do that. Get whatever it is that you have to do to get yourself back to you. Do that. I am an advocate of all of that. Pray, meditate, go to church, go to the mosque, whatever it is that you do, I need you to do that just so you can be healthy and you can be okay with you. Because at the end of the day, you got to love you. And what's better than you? Absolutely nothing. So I need everybody to do that, right? Hey, 810 News Media Group, thanks for stopping in to Yo What's Poppin'. I want you all to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend and tell a friend. Come back and watch the replay. You might have missed something me and Tanya said that do some good for you. I just need you all to do that. And with that being said, I love you all. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. Bye.